Good morning, everyone. GM. Welcome to another episode of FOMO HOUR. Today is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. Folks, it is another freezing cold day here in Chicago, minus 5 degrees again. But we are thawing out here soon. It's supposed to be nicer this weekend. Crypto majors maybe showing signs of thawing out after a nice little rebound after yesterday's lows. It looked like it was over. This morning, it looked like maybe we were so back. Is the bottom in? Are we just going to range like this forever? We're going to break it all down on today's show. Farokh still out. He's out the rest of this week. He'll be back on Monday. We've got Mando with us. We've got Logan with us. Mando, GM, how you doing?
GM, man. How is minus 5? So does the lake freeze?
It can freeze. If it stays this cold for extended times, it will.
Oh.
It's happened in winters before.
Man, that must be freezing. Yeah, doing well apart from that. It does feel as though we're not heading to zero straight away, at least today.
We had KBM on the timeline calling for sub 90 Bitcoin yesterday, which was my sign of hope that it wasn't going to happen too soon. So
it was a good sign.
Yeah, the counter trade KBM worked again yesterday, at least for the hyper near term. Logan, Jim, how you doing?
Hey, Tyler, I'm doing well. Freezing cold here as well, but staying warm to the best of my ability.
All right, well, do your best. We're going to get through this here, this winter, this crypto winter together. Folks, what are we talking about on today's show? We're going to start with the market report. Some alts cooking a little bit. These FTX repayments starting to land in wallets. Schwab opening up digital assets. We'll talk a little bit about the Libra latest. This Libra scandal just keeps getting crazier. Portnoy just pumping, dumping all over the timeline. Why is he doing it? Are the trenches ever going to learn their lesson? Kaido TGE, we got the news this morning. We're going to break that all down, talk our expectations. There was a Walrus airdrop that went through. This OCH Genesis token is coming on abstract. Runes news. So lots of tokens and Runes news that we're going to get into, maybe even some speculation on this pain presale, if it ever comes. Plus, Rollbit spins. Double Rollbit spins are back. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of the show. Before we dive in, shout out to our partners, starting with Galaxis. Galaxis is a Web3 platform, empowering creators and brands to build unstoppable communities with full ownership and independence, trusted by icons like Donald Trump, Steve Aoki, Mike Tyson, and the NBA, shaping together the future of engagement. And every day, we see people's wallets get drained. Fairside is about to launch the fair alternative to insurance for crypto scams. Check out at Fairside Network on X. If you get drained, you won't be wrecked. All right, shout out to our partners. As always, Mando, if you're ready, let's get into it.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
GM, everyone. So yeah, it was obviously feeling like it was all about to go to zero, and then kind of bounced a little bit. We saw lows of I think 93.5 on Bitcoin. We saw lows of around 160-ish area on Solana, and then it just kind of Bitcoin. We had some headlines really around. First, it was around MicroStrategy or Strategy now going to raise another $2 billion. You saw the Texas state kind of debate, I think it was really on Bitcoin treasury went relatively well, and yeah, just like more bullish sentiment really around Bitcoin, which just kind of saved us from going to Goblin Town. Bitcoin on the day is actually still kind of up smallish, but just because Bitcoin didn't go sub 90, we kind of had a situation where everything felt okay suddenly. So Solana rebounded all the way back to like 173 this morning, 174 area. A bunch of alts which looked like they were dying also bounced, and yeah, just it kind of felt okay. We also had, like you said, the FTX repayments were relatively good too. So I don't know now. It does feel like we've had this bounce. Like, is this the bounce that people like go, I'm out, like I've been smashing everything, or do we continue lower, or do we continue higher? Sorry. It's still just like people just are not bearish on Bitcoin at all. Like it's really tough to find someone with like a really like strong bearish sentiment on Bitcoin. It feels like so. Yeah, it just kind of feels like that is going to stop us, like the whole market from falling out of bed. As you said, like altcoins, Bitcoin dominance had been heading lower throughout. Heading higher throughout the day, and then we did see a bounce in a decent number of alts. Interesting that like none of them are really memes. So if I looked at my top 100 movers, it was a bunch of like L1s, or it was a bunch of like yeah, like just coins that you don't normally hear about. Do you know what I mean? Like it was like things like Tau, for example, in AI. Like that's been a coin which, people were talking about 6 months ago, and kind of fell out of bed, and then seemingly is like bouncing pretty strongly, alongside a few other L1 trades. Like Sui's bounced a little bit. So let's see. But it doesn't feel like potentially the bags that, if you're holding altcoins, that the bags you were holding before this are necessarily going to bounce. Memes continue to not feel like the strongest bit of the market to me. So yeah, I think be wary that altcoin season, or at least an altcoin bounce, may not necessarily mean that altcoins are your altcoins, or the more left curvy stuff is gonna bounce a decent amount. I was speaking to you, Tyler, and saying like I do the minutes every single day, and Solana meme coins are not showing up in those minutes for the last 3 weeks. 3 days. Sorry. Like in terms of hot coins, it's generally been like today. It was a coin called Farokh, which is a base coin, and Broccoli, which is the Binance Smart Chain one, and yesterday it was a bunch of Binance Smart Chain coins too. The only ones that kind of bounced today were things like FWOG and UFD, but these are coins which are down just so much, right? Like it wasn't they weren't like new hot coin. And I think the whole Portnoy thing yesterday just kind of just didn't feel that great, because it just kind of felt like why are we doing this again? In terms of my macro, nothing to worry about. S&P hit all-time high, gold hit all-time, it's basically at all-time high. There's nothing that points that we're going to go lower there, and that's probably also why we have stronger that's probably why we have a stronger Bitcoin setup. And there was a couple of headlines yesterday that Google is looking to Bitcoin, booking into Bitcoin. Or that was kind of vague. Lutnick got made Commerce Secretary, which is relatively bullish. The SEC has acknowledged the XRP ETF, and I think you even tweeted this one, but Schwab had hired a head of digital assets. So general bullish sentiment. I didn't see any bearish headlines from macro or across the board, which would point to like an altcoin apocalypse. But yeah.
It feels like the bullish foundation, at least for Bitcoin, just continues to be laid during this period of chop. And I feel like we're just kind of waiting on like what's the next pump factor, like what's going to drive the next leg up. And it feels like it's just a matter of when and not if for me. Maybe we dive into memes a little bit here. So I tweeted this out. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but the overall meme market cap peaked at 127 billion. It's at 67 billion. So it's down 60, nearly 50%, 60 billion wiped out. It's back to June 2024 peak levels here. So basically like the entire Trump pump, which pumped Bitcoin from 70K to 100 is totally wiped out. And it's just fully reset. And I think what else jumps out to me about this chart, if you look at it from this peak to the second peak and then this fast dip, is it looks almost exactly like this. It looks almost exactly like the classic Wall Street psychology of a market cycle chart. And it feels like we're in anger. Like it matches up nearly exactly to this. Like Logan, you're shaking your head. Like, does that line up?
Yeah.
I thought we were in anger already, and then we just got angrier in this past week.
Yeah. I think I'm certainly angry, or even if not a little bit beyond that at this point in time. So I was fortunate enough to receive my FTX claim yesterday as one of the small claims.
Mm.
And when I think about what am I going to do with this, right? Cash to the bank, gamble, whatever. I thought on it for a few hours after receiving it. I received it yesterday morning, and what I ultimately did was I bought Bitcoin. I just dumped the entire claim that I got into, which was not a lot of money, but just dumped it into Bitcoin instead of gambling on meme coins or doing anything else. It just feels like the easiest thing to do at this point in time, and I don't have to feel bad about that in any way. Nothing in the meme coin market, despite that major sell-off and that maybe feeling like a really far fall for a knife. Nothing here is instilling any confidence for me to want to like rally into a community or a coin for the hopes of any near-term bump. I'm just not feeling that in any way, shape, or form right now.
It feels like we're going to get this little rebound off of anger, and then we're just going to slowly chop and grind down into depression.
Yeah, and to Mando's point, I'm sorry. I was just saying. I mean, I think the extension of this Portnoy saga is contributing beyond Libra as well. I mean, if you're watching what's happening there and you're following it all, like, how are you not just like, F this, man? Like, how are you not just exhausted at the state of memes right now?
Yeah, I guess let's just get into it, and then we'll circle back. I want to talk about the action on the other chains, but we'll start with Portnoy. So yesterday, total surprise, he ends up launching his own token, this greed token. He buys 34% on the gun for himself. So he's got 347 million tokens, 357 million. And then he just goes on like a tweet storm about it, going as far as saying, who do you trust? If you hold it tight, it'll rise. I'm not selling anytime soon. So why would you? So the timestamp of that was like 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And then if we scroll up his timeline, he's bull posting it. He's talking shit to Choose Rich Nick. His bag's up to 800,000. All right, let's find it. It looks like he may have deleted the tweet, but he sells it all 1 hour later and puts it all into Jail Stool. So here is the greed chart. A few things jump out to me. One, it did wick all the way up to about 35 million. It crashed within an hour or so back to 3 million. And then some degens tried to make it like a spite Portnoy, anti-Portnoy coin. That didn't really work either.
Oh, I guess. I think like when I even saw it, I was like, I don't care about this greed coin. Like no one's going to care about this. And then when it rugged, I think there was very little sympathy for like, oh yeah, we got to show Portnoy. Like I was like, no, this isn't the market for that either.
Yeah, we're not doing that despite.
Yeah.
Right now, what jumped out to me again, this thing caught $100 million volume the first hour, and it did 160 overall. So either Portnoy is working with some market makers, which is very possible, because we know he was talking to Hayden, who were driving capital into these, or the trenches are just sitting around and just desperate to fire at anything that comes across the desk. I think I did not expect this to go this high or to have this type of volume. I guess, Mando, did you see this one? Did you have any reactions? Were you watching as this played out, or were you just checked out?
I saw it. I just saw it go up to like 20 million. But like, I just kind of guessed that was going to be the outcome. And like the next time I saw it, it was at 2 million. And I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't following what he was doing. It was just on deck screen, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that token is now at 2 million. Something must have happened." And I guessed that must.
Yeah, so he sold it all and then put it into Jail Stool, which doesn't even help the Jail Stool chart, which is still just down only. It's at 14 million. He was doing spaces. Like he's kind of. A lot of people are trying to figure out what this guy is doing. It does seem like he is like kind of just trying to hold a mirror up, or just trying to light on just the pure greed. And he's saying like, yeah, I could do this every single day, and you degens are going to just keep buying my coins every day. And he's not wrong. People, they're doing it. They're still doing it. So he's going to continue doing it. He launched Greed 2 an hour after this. That one didn't go quite as high. Let's see how high Greed 2 went, which was actually the funniest thing probably that happened. It still saw $30 million volume. It wicked to 6 million at peak, not really higher than 2. It's at 350K. So people didn't chase that one quite as hard. Still 9,000 holders on this token. So I don't know if these are just bot farms who are just copy trading Dave's wallet no matter what. I don't know. Logan, any thought, like, what is this man doing?
He is shining a light on what takes place here. I mean, and he's doing it. He's doing a pretty good job of that. The issue is that while it has rinsed out, some of the active participants who are kind of seeing what this is doing, like seeing this for what it is, still too much money and too many people are willing to gamble. So maybe Dave is doing us a favor, right? And helping us kind of rinse out the existing meta, get us to a point where, I don't know, we get a meme reset of sorts, but he's gonna, I think he's just gonna keep doing it. I don't know what to say though. I mean, like we're not necessarily those of us on the show, but I mean the people in the Solana trenches, we're perpetuating this. We're fueling the cycle. I don't know what to do aside from us just continuing to diminish Dave's influence, which does feel like it's happening a little bit. I don't know what we could possibly do to get him to stop doing this in the near term.
He only going to stop if people stop buying the tokens, or else he's just going to keep doing it. I'm trying to figure out what's in this guy's head, because I mean he is walking the finest line of just actively pump and dumping tokens. Like he said, he wasn't going to sell it anytime soon, and he sold it an hour later. It's, you can argue, I guess, over the definition of soon. A part of me, and I'm pulling up this article from Decrypt for those in the stream, and the title is SEC vet expects regulators' crypto investigations to grind to a screeching halt. So, like, the only thing, I don't think Portnoy is a dumb guy. I feel like someone is in his ear saying, like, you're not going to get investigated for this as long as you do a handful of things. Like, that's the only logical interpretation I have of how this is playing out. So,
I think no one's going to go after him. Like, I think we're in a market where he's allowed to do this as long as people want to play the crash game with him, right? I've said that. So it's immoral, but it's at the same. Well, I don't even know if this one it feels more immoral than the others, right? Because he was like actively pumping it and he created it.
Yeah.
But I also think that, like, you're playing the game. Like, he actually is kind of exposing how ridiculous this all is at the same time, right? Like,
yes,
and anyone could come and do this. Like, he's just the one who's doing it. So I think he's kind of saying that, which again I think just leads to led even more to the reaction. It made people like not want to get back in the trenches anytime soon. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all just turned into a bit of a farce.
Yeah, as long as this stuff is happening, like, I don't really want to play in the meme trenches. And I was never like hardcore in, but like I was playing most days. I was showing up and waiting and seeing. I don't really want to get into this. It's pretty messy. Yeah. So I feel like we're all waiting this to play out.
To a certain degree, I mean, I really do. I think he's doing us a favor. And it's hard to hear that and maybe say that. It probably doesn't come across well, but no, it doesn't. But I mean, like, he's showcasing the greed. No pun intended with a ticker there, but like, he has said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy this coin. I'm going to do this coin. And I'm going to dump it on you in like 5 minutes. And as immoral as that seems, as like loud as we want to be about, or, he keeps talking about crying at the casino, as much as we want to do that, like, he is saying we're going to do it and we keep playing the game. So like, at some point we got to look in the mirror for ourselves and be like, why, why are we playing this game? We shouldn't be playing this game. Hopefully the market comes to a head with enough of these, but I think it's gonna happen for a while longer.
A couple of things, but I want to move on. He is protecting himself. He is taking all of his profits and putting it into Jailstool, which is assuming he never sells Jailstool. He's basically not taking any profits, which I do think keeps him a little cleaner in all this. He's not actually extracting right now. Well, and that's like you could probably argue either side, but the only the losers keep bitching part about this tweet. Like there are people who are upset because it just makes everything look so bad. And I think that chorus will continue to get louder.
Have you also noticed, Tyler, on every single post, he calls it a collectible? On every post, he calls it a collectible.
He mentioned Sachs. I listened just for a little bit today to the Davey Day Trader stuff. He mentioned Sachs and the collectible nature this morning.
He's playing the fine line, knows what he's doing, and like he talks all this bullshit about like not been part of the scene and only just started doing this when he's got fucking Kraken as a sponsor the last few years. Like he's not stupid. It's just people are getting rinsed from this. He's
walking a fine line. He knows what words to use. He's clearly, been coached at least at a baseline level. So we'll see. Stay tuned for more tokens today. There was rumors of a Kanye token coming today, which I would have said was 0% chance given the state of this market. And then Portnoy's greed sees $160 million in volume. So all bets are off. There might be.
Kanye's back on X, right? So that's another thing.
Okay. So yeah, I am not. This is not a promotion. I'm just saying, and I will not be trading that token if it does launch. No. The other thing that happened yesterday, we got the news from DB 10 tier K, Hayden Davis from Kelsier claiming he could control Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, by giving his sister money. And he had some choice, colorful words.
Wild that story. I mean, we said this story is going to keep on going. There's too many people, in my opinion, of influence and power that are now being exposed that I think they'll take down people with them. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where I think we're at. Like, then influencers will get done and then they'll expose other people. Like, there's going to be ramifications from this, in my opinion.
I mean, this guy, to say things like this, I mean, he just feels like he is totally safe. Like, he's giving interviews talking about how he could control the president of Argentina, who has a pretty...
This wasn't an interview, though, to be clear. Okay. This was text.
Yeah, so his text thing.
Yeah, which I think was like revealed. I don't think he said that in an interview. He seemed quite put together, I think, in his interview. As in, like, I don't know. I can't imagine him saying that on an interview.
So Protos reported this morning that he could not remember having sent these text messages or something like that.
Your Honor, my client couldn't remember sending these text messages. He was probably drunk at the $2,000 sushi dinner.
Yeah, that he didn't pay for.
That was hilarious. We may have to. So I read that. I don't have the link handy. I thought it was like a fake meme story, just because like there was no way that was real. And then the guy who wrote it shared the picture that they ordered all this Wagyu. It's time for the check. Hayden goes to the bathroom for 20 minutes and then is just peeping over tables looking at the guy while he finally pays it. And then he comes back immediately afterwards and says he'll buy the next one. I thought there's no way that could be real, but it's real. It's just incredible. But the stakes are higher now. Like Milei is going to face like a pretty serious like anti-corruption, like anti-bribery investigation here. Like Hayden's saying he paid off his sister.
Yeah,
that's about as bad as it gets. I mean, other than paying off Milei himself, and he's saying like he could control him, and Milei is signing off. So this is going to go deeper. Totally agree. It feels like we're not really going to recover in the Solana trenches until this is all fully past us, and it doesn't seem like it's that soon. But you mentioned other markets. This AVAX action is wild. This KET token. It's 425 million. I think it was a pre-sale, and the pre-salers were up something like 1,000x. Wink was another pre-sale. It's at 140 million. I think those pre-salers all cleared six figures at this point if they held the token just for a handful of days. But it's more than just this. The Arena. I thought the Arena token was at so Arena is at 100 million FTV now. The SocialFi network that came out after Frentech. So, I mean, it's grinding up. So there is a full AVAX season.
This is what I'm kind of saying. Like, the degen activity is just not happening on Sol. So I'm seeing some of it, but like it's BNB, it's AVAX, it's like occasionally base, but like, and that we said yesterday that might not be that much of a problem, like long term, but I do think short term it's like something that speculative capital. This may be an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, this may be not like there is a bit of a more than I've seen for a long time. Like even when there were other seasons, you know, like Tron season, AVAX season, all that sort of stuff. Like Solana coins would still be like ripping during that period. They'd still be active. It's just like we would move on to another chain. This kind of feels a bit more than that. I don't know. I don't know if you guys agree, but like it does feel like the casino is like almost closed for a bit on Sol. It's not like, oh, it's down and like stuff's still moving, but lower volume.
I think it's mostly close. There's still like the degens who are just never going to close meme scope, and like that's their day job. But I think for majority of participants, they're not in the Sol casino right now. I think what else jumps out to me, look at these volumes. Like the Greed token did 160 million. That's more than the entire AVAX board saw, but still these tokens are grinding up 10, 20% with 9-figure market caps. So like you can run these coins with far less volume. It also makes me think how much of the volume is just totally fake on Solana. So we'll see how it continues to play. I think base is going to be a winner here. You mentioned one of the biggest tokens of the day was Farokh, up 87,000%, 25 million. There's another token coming to base here tomorrow. Maybe we just get right into it, folks. Kaido TGE tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern. That is 12 p.m. UTC. The InfoFi era is going to begin soon. They did not release tokenomics. Tokenomics are going to come out right before the airdrop. And in the past few days, they have been talking about how they've been profitable on a few different arms of their company. And they've shared more information about how they plan to use the token to drive their broader ecosystem. So that they're moving fast. Like some folks would say, like, hey, wait for better market conditions. They're saying, no, we're going to move far ahead. We did apparently, so this is going to launch on Binance. Binance shared some token details, 1 billion supply. It looks like 24% circulating, 2% going to those Binance stakers for their launch pad there. So some of the Binance folks are going to eat here. It leaves about 22% of the tokens for some kind of an airdrop / LP. So still TBD on how many goes to the NFTs, how many goes to the yappers. It's not doing bad on pre-markets. $1.45 on Avo right now. Whales has it at $1.43. About $250,000, $300,000 in volume. Not a tremendous amount of volume in 24 hours, but not just totally illiquid. So it's trading at $1.4, basically 1.4 billion FDV here ahead of its launch. I want to say I had one more tweet on this. It's going to be on Binance. I think it's going to be on Base as well. And I don't know. It's feeling like it could be all right. I mean, Logan, what are your thoughts on this? Early reactions? I think the question on everyone's mind is who are the buyers?
Yeah.
I was curious for reactions.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question I've actually seen tweeted a few times today, which is surprising given that most of crypto Twitter is going to benefit from this. But I don't know who the buyers are. I mean, it really, I think, depends on what do we learn about the future of Kaido? What do we learn about the staking component of it? Is it that open, decentralized network stuff that we talked about yesterday? Is that a real ambition and endeavor from them? And can they make the token have a life beyond just the airdrop, which is really difficult to do, as we've spent a lot of time talking about. So interested to see. I don't know really what to make of it. I mean, I think the market's making a lot of assumptions for a variety of reasons. One, it's fun to speculate. Two, people want this to do really well because, you know, of course, many are incentivized by the token that's coming. And nothing else feels good right now. So we're there's a lot of hopium here. I don't have many apps. I hope it's worth as much as it could possibly be worth. I likely, given the amount of apps that I have, will be insta dumping whatever I receive, pending some real weird thing that comes out with the tokenomics tomorrow.
Yeah, you're in the majority. I feel like the people who have the apps are excited and rooting this on. The folks who don't have the apps are just screaming for this to go to zero. Like, there's never been a group of people who just are rooting for new protocols to just go to zero as fast as they can. I think in general, before this whole airdrop campaign, people were generally fans of the Kaido data analytics and visualizations that they provided for us, this mindshare metric. But now there's just so much anger out there. So how can they get people to buy this? So like Brez got a tweet. He was digging into this a little bit. He thinks there's going to be staking, investing. So if you can only get the go forward Kaido rewards via staking, there you go. Right there.
What I would say, it's a really bad time for an airdrop where a bunch of influencers make money. People like airdrops. They don't generally like airdrops where a bunch of influencers are going to tell you how great an airdrop is and you didn't make money on them. So it's this one is probably the most divisive one to come at this time, I would say.
Yes.
There's a reason why people perhaps don't want this one to do so well. That being said, like I do think it has a real business, unlike the vast majority of these other ones. Like this, I don't know what revenue Kaido is making, but like it's not cheap to buy their monthly subscription. And who knows? Like maybe they do have like a Web3 model for the token in some way there. I am slightly confused why they've even done a token. Like the business doesn't necessarily need one. So like maybe they're experimenting with this sort of like like the Web3 business model side of stuff. Yeah.
We'll see more about how they plan to incorporate it within like their broader economy, and perhaps brands will need to have some tokens to play a part of this to join pre-TGE. I think for the yappers, likely to continue to earn rewards to be able to vote, that type of thing is likely going to include a token component. So they've got some levers they can pull here. Real quick, rollbit code for today, Kaido, Kaito. For those rollbit spins coming up here in about 15 minutes or so. So it's trading at 1.4 billion FDV. I was trying to come up with comps. This Portal token, so Portal right now, $63 million market cap, 140 million FDV.
Is Portal to do with that though?
Well, it was a similar type of.
No, Portal is a gaming tech company.
I guess
they had the social.
They had the social element at the start to get everyone to talk about Portal, but no, it's not a social-fi entity in any way. Portal. The best is what you said. It's like Portal is a portal that you can use different Web3 games with a pass on it. Like that's what Portal is. But they were the first to do the farming, the social farming stuff. I guess it's things like Stars Arena, if I'm honest, but it feels like a much better business. So I don't know if that's doing a disservice to Kaido.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's stronger than that. So Frintech hit like 300 million at peak. Arena technically did, but that was like on launch day. Again, it's back to 100 million. I think it can open at $1 billion FTB. Logan, what do you think? Launch day.
Yeah, I think these pre-markets are getting slightly better as they exist for a bit longer. So I don't, given the hype on the timeline, given the AI components, I mean, there's enough buzzwords here. It would not shock me at all to see $1 billion FDV. That still would not be. I mean, sorry, I should say that would be incentive enough for me to instant dump my tokens and probably many, many others.
You can't wait to get rid of your Kaido tokens, Logie.
I think I have 21 yaps or something like that. I was not farming this. I was not tweeting about how many yaps I had. Kudos to those who received yaps without talking about yaps. You should get some sort of multiplier for that. But yeah, I will be looking to dump my tiny little portion. It'll likely be a trivial amount of money. Maybe I'll, I don't know, buy a nice lunch or something.
maybe their vision and tokenomics will change your mind tomorrow. We will see. So Logan, there's a couple other token news pieces from yesterday. So on-chain heroes, they announced their hero token and an NFT collection. And Walrus, this one of the leading protocols on Sui, they did a little bit of a drop yesterday. So what can you tell us about this?
Yeah, so they airdropped a soulbound NFT, sort of similar to what Mega ETH just did, and this is going to enable those who received that NFT to 4% of the WAL token supply, which will eventually come. I don't believe, I read the blog this morning, I don't believe there was a date for that, but this is giving you an indication that you will eventually be able to claim tokens that come in. And Walrus is a decentralized storage protocol. And actually Decrypt utilizes Walrus to store its articles and videos in a decentralized fashion. Nice. So yeah, we've been talking about Sui on and off for a long time. People are looking for protocols, things to do there, things to be able to pay attention to. Obviously, this is one of the bigger ones, and you may have earned, if you've participated in any way, early Sui participants, people that have messed around in the protocol with it in any way, at least check to see if you got it, and you're entitled to some tokens down the road.
So they've got a real world business. Decrypt is storing what historical articles,
like articles and videos.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice. And I mean, it's hard. A couple of things jump out. We don't know the timeline. I feel like probably somewhat soonish. Like this doesn't feel like something you necessarily do like 6 months out. So I'd say probably in the next few months. And then this is also a new interesting model for NFTs, which I don't feel like we really saw until Trump came into office. Mega ETH has done this. Now Walrus, where they're airdropping soulbound NFTs as your token allocation. So this is clearly a new trend.
Yeah, it's interesting. It also presents like the opportunity for the team to sort of, vest those tokens to you over time, and maybe tide some of the initial airdrop dump fest stuff that normally happens. I'm all for even what feels like maybe minor innovation here. I'm all for teams experimenting with trying to do new cool things as it relates to providing tokens or rewards to the community. So kudos to Walrus, Mega ETH, and anybody else willing to take a chance like this.
For sure. And then the other thing happening, on-chain heroes, a lot of pieces of news here, Logan. So I think we got new NFTs coming. We have a new token coming. What do we need to know about this? And I guess for some context, this is one of the larger initial projects that said they were going to launch on Abstract.
Yeah. I'd say, I'm sorry, Tyler. I was going to say, I'd say this is in like those top 2 to 3 hyped up Abstract projects. It's an idle RPG, and it aims to be very idle. In the docs that I was reading, it's for the busy degen. It says somebody that is willing to spend maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day, I don't know, questing, fighting, battling, whatever you do in an RPG. I'm not a big gamer, so people would know better than I do. But yeah, they're hosting their mint. I think it may have actually already started the first phases of such for the on-chain Genesis hero rings, or the on-chain Genesis rings that were minted on ETH back in December. So they've kickstarted that, and it's the mint for the heroes, the actual heroes, which will be necessary to partake in the game, which takes place on Abstract. It's fully on chain. And that'll kick off, I think, once mint is completed later this week. I think tomorrow is maybe the last phase. So perhaps tomorrow afternoon or something like that. But this is one of those ones people are looking for something to do on Abstract. This seems to be one of the ones that is very, very hyped up, and it provides you the opportunity to play a game, earn some Abstract XP. And then also too, as you noted, they have a hero token, which it's utilizing, you can earn via the game. All the spend, or 50% of the spend, I think, in game is then distributed to the leaderboard at the end of each season. So play to earn in its finest, on chain, on Abstract.
Yeah, you nailed it. Web3 gaming, tokens, NFTs on Abstract. I feel like folks have been kind of waiting for more projects to drop, more reasons to deploy capital. So I'll be very curious how this one performs here over the coming days and weeks on Abstract. I think the other piece of news, folks, we got some runes news, a few pieces of runes news. Bitcoin runes. Dog go to the moon is launching on Solana today and Slingshot. So they are making the trek for more liquidity to be tradable multi-chain. Markets responded a little bit. It's up 9%, 312 million. That's probably, we're just 300 million rank in our meme rankings.
To be honest, it's actually gone up quite a lot. Like,
yeah, it's
not
probably
doing so bad.
It's right next to Mog. Yeah, it's neck and neck with Mog.
Mog's not doing well.
That's sort of wild. Neck and neck with Mog.
Farcoin. It's the same market cap as Farcoin.
That's
I
wild.
kind of felt like because people might move to ETH, like some of these ETH meme coins might do well, and Mog just has not taken up the challenge.
Yeah, I saw you were tweeting about Pepe maybe.
I like Pepe. I like Pepe in general, but as like a hold it through whatever sort of meme. But Mog feels like it's got a shot to prove it's a multi-cycle meme to me. And I'm not sure if it's going to do it.
Now's the time. So like Pepe is basically,
now's the time, guys. Like,
well, we're going to see. I think this is time perhaps to DCA into these. I don't think any of them are going to have violent moves upwards. I guess what could invalidate that is if we see a big move in ETH, perhaps tied to that staking ETFs come out. I could see that possibly being a positive catalyst for the ETH memes. So I guess if there's just a meme season on different chains, I guess perhaps those two would be stand to benefit. Yeah. So this is the Mog chart. It looks like it's going to need some more time here to find support and to rally. So Dog is right in the mix. Now it's gonna be multi-chain, moving to Solana, perhaps at a bad time. We'll see.
Yeah, wow, they didn't time that well, did they?
We'll see how they are welcomed. And then Magic Internet Money. This has been what they call BRC20s. I'm forgetting like what the predecessor to Runes were.
Yeah.
BRC20. This was the longest lasting BRC20. They were supposed to launch a rune. Runes are a year old now, I think, or close, damn near a year old. We've been waiting a year for this one. It finally came out. It's a Runes now. Many have called it the best meme on Bitcoin because it's tied, to the Wizards and the Magic Internet Money. Opens at 55 million as a rune, enough to make it the number 2, which also just shows you where the rest of the board is. Pups is at 34 million market cap. $1 billion cat's at 17. RSIC is at 16. Gizmo is at 4.5 million.
Look at those volumes, Tyler. It's just atrocious. Billy is like pretty notable. Pups $29,000, $30,000 in volume.
I know there's other places, there's other areas where you can trade pups, but on Magic Eden the volume is 29.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Still,
it's weak.
It's weak. Yeah.
And I think we've been wondering like what is the next catalyst? And the Soul Casino winding down for a bit. You could maybe make a case, hey, like that could somewhat lead to money on Bitcoin, but we're not seeing it.
There's no catalyst. We might get like a 2 or 3 day, maybe a week and a half long like mini runes run at some point, maybe. That's it. It's over. I'm ready to call it. I'm still holding pups. I'm still holding RSIC. They're sitting in a wallet. I don't ever look at it because I don't want to be depressed much more than I have to when I look at this board. It's over.
I've round tripped quite a bit. We can move on from that. So speaking of pain, round tripping pain, the pain token tweeted out last night. Perseverance always inspires new insight, strength, courage, optimism, motivation, innovation, new growth. With the meme there, if you look at the first letters of this tweet, that says pain is coming.
Can't they just refund? I think people are really just talking about the refund bit of this, right? Like, because Sol is down so much. And everyone's like, how have you still got all this money?
Logan, do you remember when the Pain presale closed?
No, not off the top of my head. It might be 10 days ago, which is like a lifetime ago, something like that.
It was longer than that, right?
Is
I think
it?
it is. See if you can scroll through and try to find it. Like I'm just trying because I want to figure out what was the price of Sol when we sent our funds. So disclosure, I sent a decent chunk of Sol, not OSF chunk, but a pretty healthy chunk. And I think Sol's down somewhere between $50 and $70 a token since then.
Okay, so the presale started on February 1st at 11:17 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
So it would have ended around, just before midnight on February 4th.
Okay. So Sol was like 210. So it's down $40 token.
That's a lot.
I probably would have just lost a lot of the Sol anyways.
On the 6th Portnoy derivative.
So maybe they are the safeguarders.
No comment.
Our Bob Lack's Sol has been in his wallet. Like we might still be up on that Sol. So I think it was that pre-sale was back in like November. So Sol might have actually still been sub 170 at that point. We will see if Pain is able to launch here soon. And like, is this the right market for it? Maybe. I guess it's painful. We saw from Portnoy. There's capital still in the trenches.
The name isn't going to save this one either, guys. It's not like, oh yeah, we suddenly got all this money to gamble on this thing. I don't even know where does that put it. Like, if it goes, let's bring up Sol meme coins. Like, what are the market caps? Obviously, Trump's still hanging out around 3 billion. Bonk's at 1.2. Dog with hats interestingly held up okay. Pudgy's is down to 500 now.
Mm-hmm.
What is Wood, and why is that 300 million?
I'm not even familiar with that token.
Is that the Chinese governmental official or whatever meme?
Maybe
got launched on Pump.
It's $380 million with $1 million traded. That's a scam. AI16Z's at 300. Farokh coins at 300.
Popcat's 230, 225.
I think, yeah, you could aim for it in the 200 range, maybe. I actually just don't even know. I think this has probably been the best trade that anyone's done in the last month for anyone who's in that pre-sale. So I feel as though you're not going to find buyers, but you'll find sellers.
Well, that's the thing. So like, if the pre-sellers, like if you want a quick, fast return, you want the high open and you just sell. But if you want the token to have any legs, you would prefer a lower open. But you kind of get in at a decent price and then just rally around this. Because no one's rallying around this if the pre-sellers are dumping at a 10 or 20x out of the gate. And
how is it? Are they locked in any way? Or does everyone just get it unlocked straight away?
There's no info. I would assume that people get it all. It's because they're refunding 80%. So they raised 40 million. They're giving 80% of that back. So now they only took 8 million.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just feel like maybe they're trying to what's best for the token, maybe, because also like a bunch of insiders essentially are also getting it, right? Like everyone who's in meme land gets some, right? And
yeah,
I just don't know. That strikes me as something that maybe should have locking, but I don't even know.
We'll see. I mean, the meme land token is at 278 million. So there's also a.
Oh, right. Okay.
A baseline comp. OV will be on our show tomorrow as we've got Sam Spratt joining us to talk about the Masquerade. Maybe we'll sneak in his thoughts on Pain here. So excited to hear from that. Well, I think we went around the horn. A few minutes left in the show. I think it's time for Rollbit if folks are ready. So Sims, I think whenever you have a chance, folks, the code again, last minute to get it in. Kaido, Kaito is the code for today for those Rollbit spins. Sims, whenever you are ready, I think we can get going.
Yeah, and we got to bring one person up as well from yesterday, so they should be requesting now, if you can see them.
Not yet, but yes.
It's going to be Crypto Beers 1 because he did message us and showed that he was requesting in time, and we had some problems yesterday with Twitter, so we're going to give them a go.
Yeah, so Crypto Beers 1 is getting their spin that they could have had yesterday. So we will have one new spin here. So Crypto Beers, there he is. All right.
Okay, so we got one, and let's get another.
Oh, Bongo's requesting. Nice try, Bongo. You were asleep at the wheel yesterday, my friend.
Oh, his tweet. That's so bad.
Christos. Oh, AHRI Christos. You are our second winner. Go ahead. Yes, Bongo almost won. Good try, Bongo. All right, we have Christos. Start requesting. That clock is ticking here. Christos Oak, you are our second winner for today. While we wait, Crypto Beers, GM, how you doing?
GM. Now looks like Twitter doesn't rock me.
Yeah, so we're happy to have you on with us today after rightfully winning yesterday. Happy we got this all sorted out. I'm not seeing Christos.
Worrying that.
Again? I feel like when it's Farokh, these things just run so smooth. Guys, you just request instantly for Farokh, not for me. What gives?
Yeah.
All right. What's our timer here on Christos?
Give it another minute. Christos Oak.
Christos Oak. Clock.
Christos Oak. I'm gonna check.
Oh, they're there. All right.
Are they it finally?
Yes, I do see them now. Whew. Just snuck in there. All right.
Okay.
All right, Christos, if you can hear us, GM, you won. How you feeling? All right. They are up here at least, Sims.
Yeah. Let me just 1 second. I'm just gonna make a quick note. Okay. Bernie should be here. So Bernie, the first spin is for
Crypto Beers.
Yep, Crypto Beers. Go for it, Bernie.
Here we go.
It's close.
Budgie. Oh, you got a wreck guy.
Yeah,
Crypto Bears, you got a
nice
wreck guy, a nice shiny one. Congratulations.
Thank
Damn,
you.
that's a really nice pudgy that it went by too with the little.
That's it. Rub it in, Logan.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I think we got him a win. He came back after yesterday, so all good. Well, we'll sort it out with you after the show, Crypto Beers. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All
And
right.
then the next one is for
Christos.
Christos Oak. Come on, give some up big. Give some up big.
Oh my gosh, we have not hit one of these, and it feels like months. I think this might be the biggest one of the year.
Christos, is he there?
Christos, come off mute.
Come on, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, come on.
Oh my Lanta, Christos.
This is life changing for me.
Wow, life changing for Christos. So we love to hear that. $27,000 pudgy. That's
Holy shit.
pudgy.
It's a nice pudgy.
Christos, congratulations, my friend. Thank you for listening. And
Thank you very much. And what should I do now?
the team will
Be in touch.
yeah, the team will be in touch. They'll coordinate with you right after the show.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, of course, well happy that you won, man. We're back.
Oh,
We are so back. We've got the first big roll bet win.
me and my family.
Awesome, Christos. Well, cheers. We will connect with you after the show. Folks, love seeing that. Farokh's going to be so excited when he comes back in a few days. Tomorrow is going to be a huge show. The legend, Sam Spratt, is joining us. We're going deep on the masquerade. Mando's going to be on with us. OSF is going to be on. So if you are into art at all, I think you're going to want to tune in for that one. So we are very excited. As for today, that will be our show. Want to thank our listeners. As always, thank our partners. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Till then, go make it a great day. Goodbye.